We had that rand continuing to weaken yesterday above R6.80. It's come back a little bit this morning, but it does look like that the rally in the rand has stalled.
Yes, indeed. We saw the rand weakening further yesterday, which makes it even more unlikely that rand bulls could breach the lows of December at 6.56. We saw euro strength stalling, as well as commodity prices and other risky asset classes such as equity markets as well. We also saw SARB officials yesterday indicating that their view on inflation is that inflation remains contained, and this underscores our view that the SARB is not likely to hike interest rates this year, or rather not to hike interest rates earlier than what the market expects. This implies that the rand's carry trade appeal is likely to wane against or relative to other high-yielding currencies. The SARB also reiterated their view that they are committed to reserve accumulation, which is not conducive to rand strength in the short term. As such, we are therefore looking for a move back towards 6.85.
Of course, that really ties in with that IMF report that came out at the beginning of the week that said that the economy wasn't strong enough at this point to justify raising interest rates.
Indeed, but we do view that we do expect the inflation profile to remain within the target range for the remainder of this year, and only starting to breach the target towards the third quarter of next year. And based on that and the fact that we expect economic growth to start increasing, we think that the Reserve Bank will keep interest rates unchanged for the remainder of this year, with a view to hiking rates in the first quarter of next year.
Well, despite those commodity prices pulling back, they're still holding fairly firm. We also have gold still looking pretty good, just below that $1,460 an ounce mark. Do you think that's going to provide a bit of an underpin to the rand?
I do think so, but I do think that the trend over the short term is likely for some rand weakening against the dollar. But we could possibly see some rand strength coming in if the euro continues to strengthen.
Well, it's pretty quiet on the data front in South Africa this week. We do have mining production coming out today. We saw 4.3% year-on-year growth in January. What's your expectation for February and going forward? Do you think we're going to continue to see that improvements, though gradual, in mining production?
Indeed, I do think the improvement's likely to be gradual on the back of the fact that expectations for commodity prices expected to be rather bullish. Commodity prices in February was quite robust, and going into March as well, we saw oil prices, we saw gold, platinum, all increasing quite robustly, and that's likely to buoy mining production. In January, we saw production of gold, platinum, diamonds and copper as well, all increasing, and we expect this trend to have continued into February.
Well, we had some news out of the US last night. We had the Fed's Beige Book coming out, and it seemed to point out that the economy is still on track, or the economic recovery is still on track. Any concerns coming from that Beige Book?
Not much concern, but the fact that there are about 12 districts in the United States that have indicated that that economic growth in those districts may have been weighed by the disaster that hit Japan in the beginning of March. That's likely to have been affected, that's likely to affect tourism and possibly trade as well. So we could see some of pressure through, but on the whole, we saw broad-based improvement in the US economy. But I don't think that the US economy is running. I think it's probably just walking at this stage.
We also had retail sales out for March. That's advanced retail sales, and coming out a little bit weaker than expected. Is that of concern to you?
It's not much of a concern. The data still indicates that consumers are spending and that they have been able to absorb the extra costs brought on by the food and fuel. We do, however, have seen that motor vehicle sales did dip during the month, but furniture sales have improved, so we do expect the continuation in advanced retail sales to continue, but on a more moderate pace.